Okay, welcome. So this is live is going to be a little different because this live is going to be about taking the gloves off. And we have, me and Andromeda Flame are going to be running this live together. I'm really excited to have her join. And really, really excited. And here you are. We can just go right into it. And here you are. We can just go right into it.
Hello.
Hello, my love.
Oh, we got that echo again.
So Andromeda and I have decided to take the gloves off because there are some content creators that are in the spiritual community that have actually done harm. And we're going to take turns back and forth talking. I apologize for the echo, but it's only within Andromeda, and it's because she has a lot of powerful, potent messages. And I'm not saying my other guests don't, but I find it kind of bizarre, okay? This live will be uploaded on my YouTube channel. This is probably the most important live I've done with Andromeda in a very, very long time. And so go ahead and do your thing, my love.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this for a while, about doing this for a while, and we've debated back and forth about the merits of doing a live like this, haven't we? Because it's not a comfortable thing to call other people out in this way, all right? But this is not about anything other than us recognizing the potential harm that these content creators are doing to people's journeys, to their relationships with themselves, and to their karma.
And what they're doing to people to listen to their instructions, thinking. So let's start out with Keisha the Mystic. And many of you may not even remember what we're talking about, but Andromeda is going to go deep diving in that one. But Keisha the Mystic was involved with Finnegan, and she had told Finnegan, "I'd like you to tell the story because I have a feeling you're going to wrap it up beautifully." Go ahead and let's start with Keisha the Mystic. Let's begin.
Yeah, so Keisha the Mystic, this all blew up about a year ago, didn't it? When she released a few posts. She had a reasonable following by this stage, but she released a few posts naming this guy Saint Finnegan or Finnegan, who essentially is a high vibrational music composer and performer. She accused him of SAing her in the astral realm. And she named him. And she created this whole drama around herself, and a lot of attention, and a lot of people were stitching, a lot of people were duetting, a lot of people were talking about this. Now, from what I have gathered, all right, from what a lot of people are saying, is that they actually met once, or they met once online, okay, and talked. And he then thought nothing much about it, but she was contacting him again. He is in a very happy relationship, so he didn't really think anything of it until all of these videos and posts started appearing.
Well, she claimed that he was her twin.
She claimed that he was her twin, all right, and that he was visiting her and essaying her in the astral realm, and it was unwelcome. Now, this created massive problems for this guy, who, by the way, I believe, all right, I think he's a bit full of himself, okay? I think he's a bit arrogant, but I don't think he's malicious. And I certainly didn't find that there was any lack of truth in what he was saying when he responded, and he responded very minimally to what she was saying. But he was receiving threats, he was receiving abuse on the streets. His career almost ended because of this. And yet this woman was going around saying saying all of this, these accusations that a lot of people at the time were saying it was spiritual psychosis. And I myself believed at the time it was spiritual psychosis. Now, fast forward to what has happened actually today. If you don't mind me talking about this.
Go ahead.
So she released a post essentially saying that this new age, and you know that we contest this phrase new age, but this new age idea that we are all one is a white supremacist idea, because it does not allow for the trauma of marginalized communities. Now, those of you who have listened to Tony's lives or have listened to our lives together will know that we talk a lot about marginalized communities, oppression, the history of this, the legacy of this, and the trauma of this. Now, Tony and another incredibly powerful and brave sister commented on her post and challenged this. There was nothing aggressive in what they were saying. They were simply challenging this idea that it was not in line with the kind of the progressive ascension view of unity consciousness. Now, her responses ranged from initially kind of passive aggressive to then, you know, holier than thou, right? Sweeter than sweet. I was in the middle of work stuff, so I went on to the post a little bit later with the intention of commenting, and she had deleted their comments because they weren't in line with all of the other comments that were saying, oh, aren't you beautiful and radiant, and aren't you such a beautiful soul, and let me kiss your ass a little bit more. Sorry, excuse me, just getting over a nasty virus. And more than that, she had blocked Tony and our other sister. So I went on her profile, had a look, and saw that she had then posted a video about, is it wrong to hex people? And in this post, she admitted that she was a hoodoo practitioner. And it all became startlingly clear that everything that's happened in the past year was not so much spiritual psychosis as the summoning and attachment of malevolent entities. And when I looked at her post on hexing and another one that she had done, where she said there was no karmic penalty for hexing those who have wronged us, I got my usual Tony, which is my usual like somatic reaction to that kind of energy, which is severe and instant nausea and abdominal pain. And my response was to immediately block, because I don't want that energy anywhere near me. It's not that I feel threatened by it. It's that it is not a vibrational match. Now, what's wrong with that? Well, firstly, you know, hoodoo, voodoo is, there's a lot of blood ritual. There's sacrifice. And I'm not going to say any more than that. But it is certainly not clean magic. All right? And the idea of hexing someone who has wronged us is completely contrary to what we should be doing if we're on the ascension path, which is healing from the wrongs others have done us, recognizing the wounds that have been created or reopened by the wrongs that have been done to us, and then releasing it, surrendering it to the wisdom of the universe and karmic laws and justice.
Exactly. If you don't mind, I want to say it a little more violently because you're so elegant. You cannot ever take someone's free will away from them. Hexing works. Voodoo works. I've seen zombies. I'm not joking. It's real shit. And the blood rituals is something David Icke has talked about. The shit works. Okay, it's how the 1% do what they do on a global scale, on a bigger scale. But let's get back to Keisha, the mystic, who many of you might actually know who I'm talking about, who we're talking about. And she actually has a massive following of 115,000 people who listen. And this is very dangerous. Because if you're doing hexing, if you're playing voodoo, hoodoo, whatever the fuck you're doing, you are now attaching yourself to. I've actually, entities are coming to you. I've had people fuck around with Hecate. It's not a joke. People fucking around with Lilith. It is not a joke. Why? Because these high priestesses, these goddesses, there was nothing wrong with them. Don't get me wrong on this. It's the egregore attachment that created a demonic intention. That's what happens. And this is important. So Keisha the Mystic had an attachment, and the attachment knew she was attracted to Finnegan. And boom, it all went. I'm not saying she was lying, but I remember sitting across the screen looking at Finnegan, looking at all his videos, and looking at how he was denying it. And I thought, and I'm a psychic, for real, not like her. She's not a psychic. She's got some shit happening, okay? You want to call it possession, you want to call it attachment, I don't give a shit, but she is not channeling shit, but more shit. I watched that young man. Yes, he's very self-important. Yes, he's very arrogant with this Buddha bun and all that shit. Don't get me wrong, but he was not lying. And this is coming from me, a woman of color who would have wanted to side with my little feminist views. I would have wanted to side with her above all else. But what I saw was a young man who was distraught. I even saw fear. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, I definitely am not astrally projecting myself to be intimate with this woman by force or not. So we're going to be naming names today. Because for a long time, I've held back going, I don't want to bully. I don't want to bully. This is not about bullying. I'm asking you to use your own discernment, to be careful with who you follow, who you listen. It is a fucking no to do remote viewing for spying, which the CIA and the KGB did. And many of them, in fact, all of them died of cancer. Okay, it's a fucking no to do these things. You do things by free will, and you do not. So if you do remote viewing, go remote viewing on other planets. Go remote view Paris, because before you want to book a ticket. But do not remote view to see, is he cheating with another woman, and what does she look like, and what's the apartment address. People can do that. You don't do it for that reason. You remote view as a detective to find a body. You remote view to try to stop from a person becoming a body. But you do not remote view to manipulate someone's free will and to harm them. The boomerang, especially in the 21st century, is unhinged. And what she did is she was playing so often with voodoo hoodoo that suddenly Finnegan came into her dreams or whatever. And yeah, there was some psychosis built on the staggering fuckery that she had created with probably outside nefarious spirits. Let's be honest. Take it away, Andromeda. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, as you've mentioned, Hecate, if you're gonna work with Hecate, you better know what you're doing, and you better be in the right energy, right? Because if you're not, that shit's gonna be magnified, okay, and things will fall apart. So just be warned. Like, there's nothing wrong with Hecate, right? The goddess of the crossroads.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing wrong with that energy at all. It's incredibly powerful. But you better know what you're doing. You better be, creating sacred space and protecting yourself correctly and doing it with reverence, not doing it with vengeance in your heart or with an attempt to circumnavigate the laws of karma or the laws of free will. And this is exactly what she has been doing. And if you look at the comments on her posts, these people are like, they're mesmerized by her. It's almost like they're under some kind of spell. And I'll tell you what, they're certainly not exercising or working on heart coherence. That is very, very clear. So she's definitely somebody who you should really be avoiding. And this is not about anything other than trying to mitigate the harm that these energies, that these messages, that absorbing the energy. Because if you're not at a stage in your spiritual journey, and this is not about hierarchy or saying that anybody's better than anybody else,
Right.
but if you're near on your spiritual path and you have not developed your heart coherence yet, because it takes time, it takes work to develop that, okay? If you're not there yet, you really need to be avoiding this kind of thing. All right? So just, you know, I think if you're interacting out of curiosity, do it in the highest state of heart coherence. But please listen to what we're saying, because we're saying this. We don't want to do this.
No, we held our tongue for damn near 2 years. And so today's the day where the gloves come off. And I want to thank Andromeda because she has a lot of integrity. You know, this is one content creator I would avoid like the plague. And I'm not saying that to be a bitch. I don't give a shit if people, I block people all the time. I understand like that. This is not about that. It is not a witch hunt. What this is saying this chick is dangerous. Teal Swan, that's to give you contrast, has gone through, and I've been mentioning her a lot because there are some things that she says that are wise, worthy of listening to. She's a highly intelligent adversary. And I say this with respect. I do not trust her because I know how she was conditioned with MK Ultra Academy and hypnosis and all kinds of demonic shit. Watch her Regina Meredith interview. It will fucking make you want to cry for this beautiful soul that somehow survived that. There's no one on the planet you know that's gone through this personally. There's no one you know on this planet that you personally know that has gone through what this woman has gone through. So I have massive respect for her, though I don't trust her to be honest. But some of the shit resonates in my heart. So I go, yeah, this is true. Yes, this is true. Yes. So I'm trying to give you those two opposites to say Keisha the Mystic has no fucking thing to say that will help you. But Teal Swan does. There are things that she'll say about how children are raised, how the brain works, how we bond, how men do that. And there's some things I don't agree with. She did a whole thing on twin flames. I do not agree with what she said. Your thoughts on that, so we can actually give them like a more flushed out kind of picture.
No, I totally agree, because I did not agree with her, with the video she did about twin flames. I thought that she got it wrong. I thought that it was corrupted, but I think she is remarkable. Yes. And I will listen to her because she is wise, because she has survived so much. I have huge amount of respect for Teal Swan, even if I don't agree with a lot of what she says. Exactly. But she is worthy of respect. And in listening to her, even if you don't agree with what she's saying, it triggers a thought, right? Almost like a galvanization of your own downloads and beliefs. And she's really good at that. But she's intelligent. It doesn't matter what she looks like, but she's stunningly beautiful. It doesn't matter, but she is. She's wise. What she's seen, what she's been through is just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
And yet she is here. She is teaching. I think a lot of it is actually catharsis for her. Yes. But yeah, she's worthy of massive respect. Unlike the other person we've mentioned,
right,
who is nefarious.
She's nefarious. There's no doubt. Let's jump to another content creator. We're just going to give you a list, and then we're going to give you a list of people you should actually probably, I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the next people I want to talk about, her name is Dominic and Maria. And they have Discord, and they talk about everything they talk about has been hijacked from other beautiful scholars in the spiritual journey. And they started implementing tarot reading and psychic energy and healing and twin flame confirmation And they just started cracking open tarot cards. Probably now it's going to be a year ago. My son has been reading tarot since he was 20, and he still won't actually take clients. Why? Because he doesn't feel like he knows enough. And he reads for me, and he reads very well. And I've tried to push him to do it, but he won't. He wants another 5 years under his belt. He wants to be like 30, 32, 33 before he starts doing it professionally, right? And he reads very well, okay? So these two women have decided that to jump on the twin flame, money wagon, which is really fucked up because there are people who are actually harming themselves through the twin flame journey, and they don't need bullshit. The reason I'm going after Dominic to say and to warn you is because now she claims she has 2 twin rays and 1 twin flame, or was it 2 twin flames and 1 twin ray? That's not how it fucking works. And I know, and this is me believing in us having concurrent incarnations. It doesn't work that way at all. And I'm not going to get into that teaching because I have teachings on that on my YouTube channel. And Sarah and I at some point, maybe we'll do another live, because after this, I'm going to take a massive rest. Oh, do you want to talk about Dominic, or do you know anything about who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know. And what struck me about her content is that it's all about self-promotion.
Yeah.
It's all about self-promotion. It's not about, like, there's a very good reason. Okay, now I have no objection to, no judgment about people who show their face, right? More power to them. But there's a very specific reason that Tony and I do not.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that reason is that we don't want compliments about how we look. We don't want our faces to be a distraction, and we don't want to promote ourselves. We want to promote the message.
Mm-hmm.
And Dominic's whole persona, wearing kind of sexy outfits, and didn't she do a post where she was saying, if you fumble a woman like me, this kind of, really 3D mundane bullshit. This is not what the spiritual path is about. And when it comes to devoting your business model to the twin flame journey, you better know what you're talking about. And she doesn't.
Well, she's never been in deep sexual communion with her twins. Some of them she hasn't at all, period. And now suddenly out of her ass, she's got a twin ray, and not realizing what she's saying. But most importantly, she woke up, she said herself, in 2020. I'm sorry, folks, unless you're a walk-in, you don't start teaching at that time. You might want to make content, but you don't start fucking coaching people when you've just learning the spiritual thing. The thing with people like, I'm going to be, and this sounds arrogant, I'm fully aware. I've been awake since I was born. So was Andromeda Flame. One of our sisters, she's been awake since she was born, and she's not doing anything, and she should. Actually, she has the talent, and she has the knowledge and the wisdom and the nervous system capability to do it. Many of us have suffered as being lone wolves, knowing what we knew, being surrounded by fucking people who actually, you could have, I mean, some of the things I was saying when I was 14 and reading, I might as well have spoken in Aramaic. That's how well I was understood by people 3 times my age. So it is not a happy path. But to now put up a sign going, I'm a psychic and I'll help you, and you just woke up 4 years ago, like, shut up and sit back down. Can you do content and express what you've learned and what you're learning? Yes. Should you suddenly now offer services? No fucking no. No way. Not yet. No. And this is something that could actually trigger many of you when I say that. When I say go up and speak up, I mean speak up. I don't mean start trying to monetize something that you have no business. It took me damn near 45 years on this planet to get to where I'm at. And the whole journey, I was awake. And it was painful. And there were dark night of the souls. Many I survived. So this is not the case with someone like Dominic. And I don't want to go too personal with them, but I can tell you that I have worked with them and I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about it from a visual perspective outside. I've been inside. I know what I'm talking about. I know how much they know, and they don't know enough. In fact, they've admitted they don't know enough. And they should have never started that. So what we're trying to do is get you to away from that. There is a lesbian couple called Twin Flame Revolution. They know what they're talking about. We're talking about drug addiction, physical abuse. They've gone through it and they've risen out of all of it. Twin Flame 1111, Cassidy knows what she's talking about. And in fact, she was one of the number one beginners in 2014 for me, that once I realized that what I had with my twin wasn't something just a soulmate, it was something else. Cassidy, many of us know who Cassidy is. And she's not full of shit. And by the way, she doesn't show her face, and she's a very beautiful woman. Go ahead, take it away. I'm sorry, I kind of dominated that.
No, not at all. I mean, but just another word on Dominic and content creators who simply parrot other content creators when they're passing this off as their own downloads. And you can tell because the words are the same, the format is the same, the energy is stolen. And you can, again, when you're using your heart coherence, you can tell, right, when somebody's not fully invested in an idea because it's not their own or not their own download. And that's what you're getting with content creators like Dominic, okay? Straight from the whole Twin Flames universe attempt to capitalize on other people's suffering. And the amount she is charging for readings it's obscene.
Yeah.
Right? And as you mentioned, Twin Flames Revolution, isn't it? That couple are excellent. And Cassidy Kane, I mean, she's absolutely incredible. An incredible teacher. Her twin is not in the physical plane. And she has created, meditations and lectures and all sorts of resources about, you working on yourself, about meeting things like your animal guides. She's wonderful. She's got a beautiful energy, a beautiful healing energy, a very compassionate energy. And she's definitely somebody to tap into if you're struggling on your twin journey, because it can be a struggle. And back to this concept of being awake. I think a lot of us who are walking the earth right now were born awake. Mm-hmm. And it's a very, very difficult path. I mean, I went through my first dark night of the soul when I was 7 or 8 years old. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's how extreme we're talking. Yeah. I had dreams of my home planet. Mm-hmm. And I knew what it was, right? Yeah. That's what being born awake looks like. It is not easy. But you will understand. You will have an innate understanding of why you are experiencing certain things. That's what being born awake looks like, and it is hard. It takes a long time. I mean, I wasn't ready to talk about this or necessarily face this until I was in my 40s. As well. That's how long it takes. All right? Not somebody who, suddenly, click, oh, there we go, I'm awake and I've got, 14 twins and therefore I can now charge, ridiculous amounts to read for people when I've just picked up a tarot deck, and I can coach people on this journey because I know so much. It's fake and it's dangerous. When you're struggling on your twin journey, the last thing you need is bad advice. The last thing you need.
Yes, because when you're going through depression, you can self-harm, especially if you've been counseled by a so-called expert that told you something that did not resonate with you. You could actually self-harm and go, I'm actually crazy, I need to just take myself out of here. This is what I mean by we were saying dangerous. It's not dangerous as you go into psychosis. You may self-harm. The next person we're going to bring up is Jessica Mendez. She actually contacted me about 2 years ago to do a reading. I didn't want to do a reading with her. I never felt connected to her truth. I would have been honored if I thought she was a colleague. Like if a Twin Flame Revolution, and why would they ever want to counsel me? But if one of them came to me and say, hey, I want a reading, I'd be fucking honored. I get tarot readers and psychics coming to me for readings, so it's not off the charts. You know, it's not like unusual. But with her, I was like, no, I don't feel like, and I didn't know how to say no. But the thing that really red flagged it for me was when she said that somebody had opened her third eye. Now, it's kind of like somebody else taking a shit for you. Good luck. Let me know how that works. I'm vulgar to give you images, to show you the absurdity of some of the shit people are saying that are massively influencing people on this spiritual ascension journey, twin flame debacle. This is not a fucking pony ride. And then you tell them how long she's been with her twin flame. And she has stated she has done a whole fucking entire coaching business on teaching people about their twin flame journey. Please tell them how long she's been in her twin flame journey. Like, how long was she with her twin?
I think she saw him across a room. And I'm not being facetious.
Did you hear that? Do you know how long it took us to come to a place where, oh my God, this is a twin? Do you know how many years, how many synchronicities, telepathic communication, the universe talking to us in numbers? I don't mean 1111, by the way. Don't get it twisted. I mean particular numbers that are connected to us. I'll give you an example because I need to give you examples. My twin was born in area code 518. That's my birthday. His number is my life path. 23, that's his life path. His number, my life path is 23. His number, the day he was born, is 23. My expiration date on my card, my credit card, is 12/23, his birth date. His social security number adds up to my day of birth, 18. I could go on and on and on, but do you get the picture? After a while, you sit back going, holy fuck, plus you're getting dreams. You're remembering past lives with your person. Of course you can remember past lives with other people. That's not a twin flame thing. It's a thing. But suddenly you're having sex and you're having massive implosions and calcifications literally exploding out of you, and you're shaking, and it's not just the big O, it's the big O that happens to be healing a kundalini reset. It's a lot of things. It isn't just great sex. It isn't goes, oh, I just never felt that way before. It's massive shit coming at you like one tsunami wave after another, hitting your ego to the ground. And it takes years. And some of us have been able to figure out certain things. Like I did a reading to Andromeda Flame. She had a question about her twin ray, and boom, everything fell into place. And I said, this is what I look for when I do a reading to confirm a twin. And still there's more shit I look at. So take it away on that with Jess, if you could.
One day. Yeah, I mean, to then create this whole, I mean, she's created this massive mystique around herself, this massive business around herself. She's doing couples coaching, right? Mm-hmm. So not only is she doing twin flame coaching and Akashic readings and all of this, but she's doing couples coaching.
I didn't even know
the audacity.
No, but let me jump in. Everyone's doing it. Do you realize that her third eye was opened by someone else? She was trying to hire me to do an Akashic reading for her, and a reading. And I did not know how to, I didn't want to insult her, but I didn't want to work with her. Akashic reading is a third eye opening, crown chakra download. It's not something, no one can open your third eye for you. I don't give if any healer tells you they can open your chakras, yeah, fuck off. Because there are very few people that can do that on the planet. They're out there, but there are very few. And I know for a fact that when we open our chakras, it is something that we do within ourselves. It's the Tibetan talked about opening chakras, but these were highly evolved monks. She's not hanging with highly evolved monks. I'm just going to say that. Trust me. Or don't trust me. Trust your common sense. So the balls and most Akashic readings I'm coming across, because I'm having clients come to me for that. Let me tell you, what's the question I ask? Any past lives as starseeds? Nope. Okay. And then I say, and then they want to tell me more. And I go, please don't tell me anything else. Don't tell me anything else. I just want to know, was there any starseed? I've been asking that recently for like 3 clients who I knew were starseeds from the way they handled themselves with me, the way they spoke with ease about very esoteric ideas. I'm like, yeah, that's not an earthling. That's a starseed. And I would ask, did that come up? No. That did not. And to me, that's an incomplete Akashic reading. Most of them are always going to be incomplete because you're only going to get a download of maybe 5 important lives in this particular timeline, meaning you're now 33, and at 33, your guys want you to know X, Y, and Z on particular past lives that are very important for you at 33. Now at 34, they may download other types of things for you that are important for, because now you're 34 and you've moved on. But my point is, these people are not preparing themselves or their room like a shaman to make sure that nefarious forces, kind of like, I almost feel like calling them fucking Ouija board people. Like they're just downloading all kinds of shit, calling it Akashic readings. And I'm not saying I'm the only one that can do it. There are wonderful people who do it, and incredible. Maureen Saint Germain is one of them, who is very, who actually taught herself how to read and has written books on the subject. But if you could take that away, because that is so dangerous to me, like people putting their trust in these kinds, people.
Yeah, it's really dangerous. Now, a good healer, right, will guide you as to how you can work on your chakras. This idea of opening one's third eye when you're not doing, daily or twice daily chakra work, right? When you're sitting there and absorbing all sorts of trash and 440 hertz, and you're kind of, you're existing in this world, and then you pay somebody to open your third eye. It's a scam. Mm-hmm. It's an absolute scam. And if she needed somebody to do that for her, and she did not have the heart coherence to realize that to open her third eye, all she had to do was keep working, working on her chakras, cleansing her environment, letting go of things that no longer served her, feeling the energy flowing through all of her chakras, and not just the 7, because I'm pretty sure she just talks about the 7. But anyway, that's another kind of issue that's really kind of pre-ascension,
right.
But if she's requiring somebody to do that for her, Tony's analogy was perfect. That Tony opened with, that analogy is absolutely perfect. She's not going to be able to give you an honest and an authentic Akashic reading, and she's charging for this. Or she's more recently come out, and this is the point at which I just completely thought, right, I cannot listen to this person. I cannot have them coming on my feed. I just can't deal with it. Was when she then claimed that she had a twin ray. And her twin ray was preparing her to be in union with her twin flame. Do you remember that, Tony? It's just like... And she's coaching? She's coaching?
It's twin ray is Yeshua and Mary Magdalena on a high scale, a PhD level. Most of us who are twin rays on this, we're preschool level, okay? We're still kicking rocks and we're still trying to figure out how to fucking say okay? To be honest, okay? So you understand the scope of the ascension and what it took. So Yeshua and Mary Magdalena, twin rays, they call them monadic. Again, more bullshit and more word salad to confuse you. A lot of people are, I'm a monadic twin. A monadic twin, you have the same higher self. You came from the source. You are a fractal of God. It has, and you came at that particular breath. I'll give you an example. At 1:33 p.m., to give you a human example, You and others came from that same monad, except it was you and your twin first splitting in half, and then others pumped through at 134, 133 and a half, and 134 p.m. Then it's shut. Then another breath of expansion of God, creating more fractals of themselves through at 1:55 p.m. And other souls came through, one from the monad. It's like, it's more complicated than that, to be honest with you. I've written about it, but it's not that complicated. My point is, it's not an elite game. It's like saying I belong to this private club that only certain members can get to. It is not less than, it is not a caste system. It is not a hierarchy system. It is an evolution of souls. And for some of us, we were born, we were made in that breath, and multiple timelines where there was no such thing as timeline. See, that's the irony. Time is not linear. It's circular. So when I give you these examples, even that's fucking bastardizing when I'm trying to explain it to human words. It was simultaneous things. We were fractals, different fractal light codes of God, of source. And it was almost like it happened instantaneously, various types of fractals. And we embody, so you'll have twin flames that are the blue twin flames. You have also golden twin flames. You have different light codes of that, because we were sent out as emissaries. All of us are valid, all of us. And the twin flame concept is a rarity. Twin rays, even more rare than rare. But twin ray is an evolution from twin flame to twin ray. Do you get me? It's an evolution. So we're learning how to speak our own word, our own name, our own word of God. I don't know if I explained it. I probably didn't do a good job. But anyway, take it away.
No, I think you did a wonderful job. And the problem is that you have people like Jessica Mendez who do not understand these concepts. I mean, they don't understand the basics of the twin flame journey. They don't understand the evolution from twin flame to twin ray and what that takes, how many incarnations that takes. Yeah. You have someone who does not understand these basic concepts, claiming that they can coach on it, making spiritual boo-boo after spiritual boo-boo, and people are still kissing her ass. Mm-hmm. And it's again, this is not about bitching. This is not about, dishing the dirt. This is about saying to you, look, this stuff is harmful. If you're struggling on your twin journey and you're listening to her talking nonsense about twin flames, twin rays, and her acting like she is all knowing about the twin flame journey when she's never even kissed the guy. Exactly. It's absurd, but it's also deeply wrong. And there's a karmic, there is a karmic element to this. Feeding people with the wrong information, pretending to know stuff that you don't, pretending to have experienced stuff that you haven't, bastardizing the concept of twin rays, a very kind of sacred and difficult thing to have achieved. And this, it's not about, again, it's not about hierarchy. This is just, the number of incarnations and what happened and the opportunities that arose in those incarnations to ascend, and grabbing those opportunities to ascend. But not understanding the very basics of this journey and yet monetizing it. I don't like the word sin, but I can't think of a better word. It is a sin.
Sacrilege. It is sacrilege. Because at the end of the day, there are people who are actually that I know of right now. I can think of 3 twin ray couples right now that don't teach. They don't teach. They live their life. Some of them are here as, like, you could say, quartz crystals pulsing the energy across the planet by just being present. You know what I mean? They're a frequency, healing energy, and they live their lives very quiet. You don't think they could fucking make probably $100 million doing this shit? Of course they could. They could do all kinds of classes and this and that. The irony is that you'll never see Cassidy pumping. I've never seen her fucking advertised, to be honest. I've actually never come across. It's something that I found through searching Twin Flames, and there she came, and I signed up to her newsletter. She's a very quiet person. She keeps it right.
She does advertise. She advertises her free meditations. That's what she advertises.
That and it's a good meditation. But I will say the next person that I want to talk about is Twin Flame Universe. We've talked about him before. We've taken the gloves off on that before. And I want to again circle back to why are we doing this? Well, because after the Aubrey Marcus debacle and seeing so many people taken out, literally going through massive depression, some going through psychosis, young women going through psychosis because he was the poster child of bad boy becomes monogamous. And then they realize, oh my God, it was all a lie. Okay. That's why we're doing this, because we are seeing the damage of these people monetizing, very similar to shamans, charlatans monetizing on the ayahuasca bandwagon. Okay. And they're pumping it out. Some of them are making $100,000 a month. That is not a real shaman. I know people, and trust me, they're not driving a Rolls Royce. In fact, they probably are driving a jalopy, not because they're not successful, because their passion is to heal people through the sacred plant. They're not here to be rich. And how they're known? Word of mouth. Word of mouth. You don't think they could advertise? There's a place in Costa Rica that pumps advertising like crazy. If you look up plant, blah, blah, top, what pumps up first in Google is them. And they are absolutely a fucked up situation. I wouldn't ever tell you to go there. I would tell you to go to Peru before I would tell you. I know of a young woman in Peru that I know you'd be safe with. I know a woman, I won't say the part of the country she's in, what part of the world she's in. She's incredible. I know another guy in Costa Rica. Awesome. You'd be safe. Okay? But they're not rolling. I doubt they have 50 grand in their checking account. Let's put it that way. And that's not a judgment of failure. It shows me that their interest is in healing people, not accruing money, unlike Twin Flame Universe, where they themselves advertise all the shit they were buying. So I want you to understand cults. When you say, oh, I will never be, taken over by a cult. Oh no. When you follow certain people like that, you are in a cult mentality. I'm just going to say it. And you have to be very, very careful. And yes, you need to judge. We use the word discernment. Okay, let's make it elegant and say discernment. Judge people. Say, this is good. This is not. This is a fucking hell no. Hell no. Let me block them. I don't even want them on my feed. You may block me. Good. I don't resonate with you. Fine. I understand. Move on. Find who is going to resonate and heal you in the way you need to be healed, or the way you need to be activated into your own power. Because ultimately our goal is to, as if we're really healers, our goal is to empower you, not make you rely on us. Okay? And there are certain spiritual laws that every spiritualist on the planet that has integrity agrees on. Do no harm. Do not manipulate people's free will. Yeah, don't do hecate to make your man love you. Don't fucking do that shit. Because you will bring in shit that you weren't expecting. Because it does work. That's the problem. It does work. If you've never read Edgar Allan Poe's The Monkey's Paw, I urge you to read that story. What are your thoughts, my love?
Yeah, Twin Flames Universe. Okay, they're grotesque in every possible way. All right, it's led by a couple who claim they're twin flames. I am not getting that energy at all. They have never been through a separation. They're simply greedy. They flaunt their cars and their Chanel bags and all of this nonsense. The only mantra Jeff 10 names, whatever his name is, who thinks that he's the second fucking coming of Yeshua, right? Yeah. The only mantra he knows is Om. Mm-hmm. And I'm being semi-facetious, but that's actually the truth. You know, he sits there with a massive amethyst crystal chanting Om and selling people snake oil. And it's so harmful. That organization, that multi-million-dollar organization, has created so much harm. Now, the documentaries that were done on Twin Flames Universe, unfortunately, allowed people to paint the whole twin flame concept as delusional, as nonsense, and that was a harm done by those documentaries, because they didn't interview, you know, people like Tony, or, you know, people like Esther Hicks, or other people who genuinely know about this stuff and can speak about it in a coherent, a sensible, and a spiritually grounded way. They focused on Twin Flames Universe, which you could say was, you know, with the kind of the journalistic imperative, but good journalism also allows for balance. Nevertheless, what it did expose, they exposed several things, right? They exposed the bullying, the people who were paying thousands of dollars to attend their classes, many of which are pre-recorded, but the bullying they received from Jeff and Shalea. It also exposed that what they did is they wanted to boast about how many twins they got into union, right? So that was the ultimate goal, of course, you know, keeping people who may, you know, who may have been twins in chasing energy, right, and keeping union far away from them. What they did is they then matched up twins in their class cohorts, and required some of those people to undergo gender reassignment or enter into relationships which were not aligned with their sexuality. Right. Now, what kind of harm do you think that does? There was also a very, very young woman who ended up being matched with a guy who turned out to be just a crook. They also did this divine dish. Did you know about that, Tony?
Yeah.
So they mandated that their followers eat a particular diet, which was high kind of meat, high fat. You know, you look at pictures of Shalea 10 years ago, and she was, you know, she was just a normal girl, and she's now, you know, pretty much morbidly obese, right, because of this diet. And, you know, this diet's supposed to be about grounding and high vibrational. Let me tell you something. There's nothing high vibrational about meat. Everything that they teach is contrary to the accepted wisdom of good shamans, of good teachers, and of twins, genuine twins who are walking the earth. Everything they're teaching is contrary to those teachings. And yet they have dominated the market, and they have done so much harm. I would go so far to say is that couple, their purpose is actually to undermine unions.
I agree. And I feel it would be a psyop. I remember when, and I'm going to bring it in, I'm going to bring it in because I'm going to give you an example that you can sink your teeth into when I say this. So when Gaza was happening, my favorite guy, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, he's got curly hair, it looks like a Botticelli. When it first happened, as we rolled into 2024, he was approached and offered $5,000 if you went pro, you know who, certainly not pro Palestine, pro, you know, the opposing force. And he posted the letter. Okay. So, and $5,000 is not a lot of money, okay, to sell your integrity. I'm sorry. So I'm wondering, and I'm not being funny when I say that, because I know that the CIA has a lot of shit that is now open to the public. And I'm wondering what it is, because I did a little quick video on Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, like saying, what are they afraid of? Why were we afraid of Mary Magdalena being shown, not being a whore, but being the divine counterpart, the number one apostle of a Yeshua? And this is coming from a non-Christian. Okay? Why was that so important to bury this divine union alive for over 2,000 years. Why? And now we have these examples of twin flame universe 1111, right? Whatever the hell they're called. Twin flame universe, excuse me, that's what they're called. And so the agenda is, when we can see this, we know think tanks think about how do we control these people? How do we start little riots over here? How do we do this? How do we do that? How do we basically play chessboards without these human beings knowing? And so the concept of the union of the masculine and feminine, you know, non-gender specific when I say that, okay, just to be clear, to make sure that there's a gender war is a psyop move, okay? The Me Too movement was very important. Don't get me started on that one because I was part of it. I was part of the Me Too movement and I supported it, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something much more nefarious that has kept us out of balance with ourselves. And of course, ultimately, the ultimate act of self-love is to find balance in your masculine self and your feminine self, whether you're a man or a woman, ultimately. And then here comes your ability to be in union with your beloved. And your beloved starts with you, but then your beloved outside of you, meaning your twin or a high-level soulmate or whatever you're dealing with, can come and you guys you're both in balance because you're in balance within yourself. So there are agendas that we have to really look at. And it's not conspiracy theory. It's called brains. It's called think of it. Look at patterns. Look at how long it's been going on. Why? Why was this done? And who did it benefit? Follow the money. Always follow the money. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Twin Flame Universe was an actual psyop. I'm not kidding. Because they're so outrageous in the shit they say. And of course, it's a situation where everyone's kissing their ass. Oh, yes, you know everything. Cult, I can see why cults were big in the late 60s, early 70s. But we're not calling them cults anymore. But I see the energy of cult because people don't want to self-analyze, self-empower, because it takes work. It takes daily spiritual practice of meditation, working on your chakras, chanting, training your monkey mind to be a servant to your soul. It takes fucking work and it takes years. And people rather lay down some money and be told what to do. So it's obvious to see how cults can be so successful. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and the cults are enormously successful because they create a false sense of belonging, right? Or the false idea that you're part of a special group, right? This whole chosen one narrative, yeah. Right? But yeah, I mean, Twin Flames Universe, it meets every single definition of a cult. It's deeply, deeply harmful, and they must be avoided at all costs, and be very aware of content creators out there who are steeped in the Twin Flame Universe narrative. Okay, they'll often present as couples, for example. There are quite a few of them on TikTok.
Oh, there's another one. There's another. Just think of it. What's the guy's name? I think his name is Anthony Adanik. You want to talk about them? And they're calling themselves Meta Flames. You remember?
Oh yeah, no, I do remember that. And you know, this guy speaks in a very kind of, you know, soft voice. He appears quite simpatico, and you know, he appears quite philosophical. And then he went on a walk with this woman who he claims to be his meta flame, and it was like a damp lettuce leaf.
Yeah,
like that's how much chemistry, right, there was between them. And when you've seen twins together, right, the chemistry is electric.
It's off the chart.
It's off the chart. And like there was zero chemistry. I mean, this guy didn't even know what he was talking about, and he was arrogantly saying that he was a metaflame, and it's really, really dangerous. And to counter that, I would like to shout out Water Bear Medicine,
Yes.
who is a wonderful divine masculine.
Exactly.
And he doesn't talk so much about twin flames or anything like that, but he talks about what the masculines are facing, the quite arduous task of masculines healing. Because, you know, men have been conditioned not to talk, men have been conditioned to be stoic, and he cuts through that beautifully. You know, he's got a lovely delivery, a really, you know, with somebody's face, you can just tell by their face that they're kind and warm, and they genuinely and warm, and they genuinely care. And he's working with masculines. He's doing the work.
He's doing the work.
Definitely for himself and for other masculines. So shout out to Water Bear Medicine. I think that's who you were referring to Water Bear Medicine. I think that's who you were referring to earlier, Jennifer.
Yeah. We have to do it live. If you guys want to talk about Water Bear Medicine, what I suggest is you go on my YouTube channel and you'll look. I take a break. I'm going to try to take a break on lives because I'm. I take a break. I'm going to try to take a break on lives because I'm. This is me taking the gloves off with Andromeda Flame, and I'm asking people to take the gloves off because we're not. It's almost like being on a date rape and not telling take the gloves off because we're not. It's almost like being on a date rape and not telling anyone about the fact that that man did that to you because you don't want to be embarrassed or you don't want to be. I think it's time for us to fucking say, yeah, this person fucked me over. You know what I mean? This person really harmed me. And you know, or I don't believe in this. And it's weird how we will review a restaurant and Yelp, right? We'll say 4-star. You know, I saw cockroaches running up the wall. You know, 4-star. I love the food. 1-star. The cockroaches were on the wall, or it smelled like Ray when I walked into the restaurant. That's a big sign. Yeah, I'm walking back out. But so we'll review restaurants. We'll review dentists. We'll review plastic surgeons, attorneys. But we're not really reviewing these people. And these people are walking unmolested. Like they're getting away with fucking massive karmic shit. And they don't seem to give a care. Because let me tell you something. One of the things I made a decision for this year. If this is my last year working with twin flames, doing readings on twin flames, what do I mean? Confirming a twin flame. I'm not infallible. 80% of the time I'm correct. 20% I'm not. I'm just not. I don't get it. I'm not getting any energy. It just so and this is my last year doing readings on that because I don't want the karma, believe it or not. I don't want the entanglement. And the reason why I'm leaving that door open is I'm moving more into hypnotherapy, Akashic readings, and just basic readings. Like I have a client who calls me every other whatever week to ask about crypto, for example, which we have a relationship. Well, I'll do that for him. But my point to you is I'm walking away from that because it is a sticky place. Will I coach couples? Yeah, because I've been in union. My beloved died of brain cancer last year. People know that. People who know me know that. And I met him when I was 18. I've gone through a lot of the twin flame journey, not all of it, but a lot of it. Okay. And I know what I'm talking about. And I've learned from other wonderful coaches like Mel Bren. Let's not forget Mel Bren as an amazing coach on the Twin Flame Union. He's still on YouTube, but he died in 2022. But he's good. He was excellent at what he did. And so I just want to kind of give you, we both wanted to give you like an even playing field to understand, but we're probably not going to do a video, a live like this ever again. This is it. This is us taking the gloves off. We just mentioned some people, and hopefully it'll show you how to discern the difference between a real healer, a real twin flame coach, spiritual life coach, whatever, and a fake. By literally going to those channels and checking them out and going, oh yeah, that they are full of shit. What the fuck was it? You know, I don't know. I hope it helps. That's all I gotta say.
About somebody else in the comments who I think is worth a mention as somebody who spreads quite a lot of fake information about twin flames, and that's New World All Star. I don't know if you've ever seen him, Tony.
No.
He's a guy called Kurt something or other, and he's been around for a while, but he's one of these who claims to have got 5,000 twin flames into union. And the way he present, you know that guy, yeah. He's but the way he teaches is so harmful, right? Can you imagine somebody deep in the dark night of the soul, right, in separation from their twin, absolutely heartbroken, bereft, they don't know what to do, they can't see one day to the next, they are in the pit, and they come across his absolute shite, right? Talking about, putting your twins gifts that they've given you in a box and burying it for 2 years because it's going to take 2 years. It's going to take 2 years. Right now, for a start, right, if he understood anything about spiritual journeys, he would understand that earthly timing means absolutely nothing. Right? It's divine timing. It's not linear. And as Heather Nadine has said, he's with a soulmate, not with a twin. Now that may well be his choice. Some twins do choose that. But yeah, he acts as if he is the only. I mean, I've heard him say things like, I am the only twin flame coach you will ever need. He's massively in his ego. And he's not talking about self-concept. He's not talking about the kinds of stuff that, water bear medicine is talking about. Real, raw, in the weeds, uncomfortable truths. He's talking nonsense. And I mean, one look at the guy and you can probably tell that. Most of the people on this live anyway.
Any last thoughts? We're at 90 minutes.
Oh wow, that went on longer than. Last thoughts. Look, use your heart coherence, right? If you are a content creator yourself, and you find it useful to find out what these people are saying. All right, so that you can either counter it or so that it challenges something within you so that you can, consolidate your own downloads, maybe understand your own downloads a little bit better because they've said something that completely opposes it. Then by all means do it. If you are a twin in separation, going through the dark night of the soul, avoid these people like the plague. If your chakras are not healthy, if you're not well along your ascension path, avoid these people like the plague. We've given you some pointers to people, and there are others as well. I think Into Harmony is a beautiful page as well, Tony. I think, she does beautiful, nature focused posts, talks about books that she's read, talks about healing in a really gentle and wonderful way. So that's another person who's really useful. She doesn't talk about twin flames, but the person who's really useful. She doesn't talk about twin flames, but the spiritual journey is about more than twin flames. So really use your your discernment. You don't need anybody else to open up your third eye. What you do need to do is you need to be working on your chakras daily. You need to be seeking wise counsel, asking questions from the right people. And when you get the answer, how does your body react? How does it feel when you run that answer through your heart chakra? Always keep an open mind that not everything you're hearing is the truth or for your highest good.
I want to include this because for those of you who go on my YouTube channel, you'll see I did a couple series on the fracture of the divine masculine and feminine. The level of integrity is really slipshod. Aubrey Marcus was already going down the rabbit hole of polyamory with his wife, Villana, 2 years prior to them coming out with that infamous podcast with Mark Goffney. Okay, so they have been selling the classes, okay, on monogamous relationship. Do you understand? They continue selling a monogamous package, making people think they were in a monogamous exclusive relationship, not knowing he was on a dating app, not knowing they were freaking out. They were doing freak offs. Okay, I'm just going to say it. And that is what actually made people in the New Age community, especially young women, fucking collapse. You should have seen the comments. Some women were inconsolable. So be careful. People like Mark and Water Bear Medicine and Andromeda Flame and and myself, we will step in dog shit. Trust me, we're human beings, but we'll fucking own it and we'll tell you about it. We'll tell you about it immediately, or we might need a week to sit with that, and then we'll tell you about it. Because here's the thing that's really interesting about people like us versus people like them. We actually want to ascend. And ascension is more important to us than having a couple $1 million in the bank account. We're more interested in ascending. We're more interested in being in union with our beloved on the other side of the veils. We're more interested in being a frequency matched at 5D and above than ever coming back here to live in the 1 percentile lifestyle. It's not important to us. What's important? So the way we coach is in service. Yes, we have to pay our bills. Yes, we charge. Yes, we do. We have to pay our bills, but we will never do it if it harms you. And if it harms you, we won't work with you. We will reject you and say, you're not ready for me. You probably need somebody else. You understand? And it's not a rejection of you. It's a protection of you. Because some of the ways we teach, it's not for the fan. Let's do it. Let's roll up our sleeves. You're in, I'm in. Okay, let's do it. It's not cruel. It's not mean. It's not going to harm you. But it is going to strip your illusion of self-protection. Your Linus blanket is being removed. And the thing about Aubrey Marcus and people like him, that's why I'm punching him out, is that he fucking lied by omission. He allowed people to assume shit that was a lie, and he monetized that lie. Do you understand the problem? And so many of these people that we kind of exposed, they're lying or lying by omission. And none of us will ever have an entire story of the twin flame journey. None of us. Or twin ray. Why? Because we are having a piece of fractal experience based on our own individual karmic needs and matches to a frequency that put us in certain situations in this incarnation. So there are twin flames having babies. I never did have a baby with my twin flames. My twin flame, twin ray. And there's graduations. There's all kinds of different things that happen. And so Sarah, Andromeda Flame's energy with her twin ray wasn't mine, and it's not supposed to be. Okay? And this is something we have to understand. So anyone that tells you they have had the entire experience of twin flames or twin ray, they're full of shit. That's arrogance. They haven't. But they've had all they have to say is, I've had a big, I lived with him or her. I didn't live with them, but we had a union. There was all kinds of, reasons why we didn't live together. Here are the reasons. It's not rude to say to a person who's going to read for you or do a reading for you or coaching for you, to ask them, interview them. Are you in union? Why do you think that was a twin? That's not, actually it shows intelligence. And if the person gets offended, what the fuck is going on here? Then you shouldn't work with them. I'm just being honest with you guys, okay? As best as I can with the limited time. Okay, so I want you to finish it off, my love, and then we'll go ahead and shut it down. Thank you all for being here. This entire live will be on YouTube in the next few hours. Please look for it. Please share it with people who you love, who you trust, and who you think would benefit from this.
No, thank you all for being here so much, and for your lively comments, and for for bearing with this and understanding why we have done it. It was important for us. We've been debating about doing this for a long time. And it's not that we were being cowardly in not doing it, but we didn't want to be doing it in a bullying energy. It's just got to the point now where this has become more urgent. And we all need to be using our heart coherence. Keep doing your chakra work, and work out how important is Ascension to you. And that will guide you who to follow, who to trust, and who to bring into, allow access to your energy. All right?
And while we're at it, follow the flame, follow Water Bear Medicine, follow these two people. They're right here on the screen, so I'm letting you look at the screen right now so you can follow these two people. I'm letting the live run a little more. Follow Andromeda Flame, follow Water Bear Medicine. They're the real deal. My son's page is The Feeling Tarot. Follow him. He's unhinged sometimes, but he's coming from a place of heart. Please, I want you guys to just have other options. And if you want to follow me, I'd be honored. And please follow me on YouTube. Definitely follow me on YouTube, because Water Bear Medicine is featured there. Andromeda Flame is featured there. And you'll get a lot of beautiful nectar of various points of views that are based on wisdom. Sending you much love on your journey. Namaste. Be well.